Every time you get to race here, it's just another opportunity. Look, I've got my tail handed to me on this course a number of times. Felt embarrassed leaving the island a couple of times, and the last time I was here was probably the best executed day that I've had on the island. It wasn't a perfect day, and it wasn't the result that I was here for, but I left finally feeling like I could be successful here, and finally feeling like, okay, I've made a lot of strides towards where I need to be, and I've maybe learned to do a few things differently and change the approach both in race and in the lead up. And so I'm just excited to see if what I changed and the adjustments that we made with my team pay off, and if I can get the result that I'm after. All right, we are out here in Kona, biggest race of the year, no pressure. All good, happy to be here. Looking forward to getting this one started on race day. It wasn't the cleanest of builds. Obviously did a few things different. First of all, staying at home. I actually didn't mind that. It was nice to just get into a routine, stay in the solid routine. Obviously had to do quite a bit more indoors. It was warm enough in Colorado. We had a great last couple, 6 weeks or so. The temperature wise was great. It's just not the humidity. So you have to simulate that a little bit. I did that a lot with the steam room, and then obviously doing quite a bit of overdressed work in the basement and on the bike and the run. So I think we're sitting pretty well prepared. I've been feeling good heat-wise, conditions-wise in the workouts that I've had here. So I think despite not going someplace warm, we ticked that box and did the preparation that we needed to on that front. Obviously having little Olivia at home, it would have been just no fun and too hard to be away for a month like I've done in the past. And so I've just been away for 4 days now, and already anxious for them to get here tomorrow and be with me for the rest of the trip. So on that part, obviously that was quite a bit different, took a little bit more intentional planning. I also had been dealing with a little bit of a knee injury for quite a while now. After Boulder, I talked a little bit about how my knee flared up, and it's kind of been a roller coaster. It would go from being fine to all of a sudden being the size of a softball. And I was managing that through Lake Placid, and it was just kind of a inflammation management. So I was able to get some decent enough training in, a little bit lower on the run volume, but not bad. And then into Frankfurt, it was about the same. And then after Frankfurt, I decided to go in and get it taken care of, or just get it drained because it was swelling quite a bit. And that got me 3 weeks of pain-free training, which was great. And then as soon as the swelling came back, it came with a lot of pain. And so I went a good 3-week block without really any run training at all. I couldn't even use the lever like I normally would. It was that uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden the pain just kind of went away. So I was able to get some good work done the last 2.5, 3 weeks to feel good about where I'm at. Obviously much lower run volume than I normally would be, higher swim and bike volume, and that's been going really well. But I was able to get, the Sunday before, I got a 20-mile run outside, and then immediately hopped on the treadmill and did the last 10K on that. And was happy with how that went, and I hadn't forgotten how to run, and the paces were there. So overall the fitness is there. A little bit of a question mark on the durability for the last 10K of the race, but hopefully we're in a good enough spot where it comes down to just gutting it out and being willing to suffer. Got to the island on Friday and did a pretty big session on Saturday, 4+ hours on the bike and then a runoff. Sunday did the swim race, which was fine. A little bit more contact than I would have liked for a training session, but aside from the people's elbow, I was happy with how I felt and how I finished it up. Didn't have the overall time that I wanted, but nothing to panic about there. Was able to swim really well the last K when I kind of tried to again. I was happy how that went. And then I went off and did my last kind of longish run of 11+, from here to out to the energy lab and then back to the top. And then just got picked up out there. And then just been kind of kicking another 3-hour session on the bike on Monday. I typically keep a little bit more bike volume and intensity in the training for hotter races because I don't want the fatigue to totally wash out. That keeps my heart rate a little bit lower during the race. That's just something that I found that works for me. So a little bit more bike volume than some people might guess or might do themselves, and that's kind of all part of the plan. And then just been taking off the last couple sessions, making sure the body's feeling good, not really forcing anything, just listening and not caring what the watch or the computer are telling me, and just kind of going through the motions and making sure I'm ready to roll on race day. My bike fitness is in a really good spot right now. I've definitely been happy with how the workouts that I've been able to do on my own have went. And obviously a lot of that, both swim and bike, have been looking really good lately, and that's because I'm probably 20 miles a week running less than I normally would be in training. And so hopefully the bike and the swim do go better. I think this could be a blessing long term, in the grand scheme of things, to have that little bit of a less run volume, because I was really surprised how quickly the run came back literally after 3 weeks of not running a full body weight step. And went out, I did one run and then I did a 20-mile run, and I was very happy with the paces and how easy everything felt and the heart rate to pace ratio and all that stuff. So I think it could be a good thing, because I was kind of forced to spend a little bit of time on the swim and the bike, and that can make my day a lot easier if those two go really well. I'm not really thinking about how the race is going to break out shake out too terribly much. I've tried to set a plan based on what I think is going to happen, and it's usually not very, very effective, because there's so many surprises and so many things that come up. My game plan going in is making sure that I have a good swim, and if that's kind of my best case scenario is there's a big front pack and I'm able to find the back of that. That's kind of a stretch, but that's happened twice out here for me, and that sets my day up a little bit easier. Worst case scenario is I fall off the back of the second pack. So, I'm not planning on the best case, but that's kind of what I'm targeting. And then, if it's a choppier day, it'll probably break up into 3 or 4 different packs. And, so there's so many unknowns that the conditions of the day are gonna create, that you just have to be ready to make decisions on race day and go with it. I know that I'll definitely have to bike harder the first hour than I have here in the past, especially, and that's regardless of where I come out of the water. That's a known. No matter what happens in the swim, I'm going to have to ride harder than I have any year in the past. It's going to be a very similar ride to what I had in Frankfurt. That first hour was really tough, and then it kind of settled in. And so if I can manage the first bit, then I'm be sitting in a much better spot. But in 2022, I kind of learned a lot, but about just doing your own thing as well. I didn't manage that first hour, and then I was by myself, and I was way far back at the turnaround to Hawi, and ended up running my way into the money. It wasn't the result that I wanted, but I was still able to salvage quite a bit of the day because so many people just overextend themselves. So it's just finding that right balance. I know it's been a little bit since my last video, so thanks for tuning in again. I promise I'll get, regardless of how the day goes, I'll get a video in here as quickly as possible post-race. And yeah, hopefully you'll follow that one along as well. We'll see you then.